Have you noticed it too? That feeling when you're listening to political debate here in Australia and you get a weird sense of déjà vu? It's starting to sound awfully familiar, right? A lot of people are picking up on language and tactics that seem to be echoing what's been happening overseas, especially in the United States. So, let's get into it. And that's really the big question we're tackling today. Why does it feel like we're hearing the same script? Are these just coincidences, or is there something bigger going on? And what does it all mean for our own political conversations here at home? You see, in today's world, what happens in a major democracy like the US almost never stays there. Ideas and political tactics travel incredibly fast. They can jump across oceans and start shaping debates, influencing trust in our institutions, and even changing how elections are run right here in Australia. To really understand what's happening, we first have to get on the same page about what people actually mean when they say the Trump Playbook. It's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, so let's break down exactly what it is. So a political playbook isn't some secret document. It's really just a recognizable set of tactics. We're talking about the specific messages, the tone of voice, and the methods a campaign uses to really connect with and fire up a particular group of voters, often people who feel like traditional politics has left them behind. So, what are the key ingredients in this particular playbook? Well, first, you've got really strong anti-establishment messaging. Then there's a deep, deep skepticism of the mainstream media. A huge part of it is using social media to talk directly to people, cutting out the middleman. And the whole thing is usually framed as this epic battle, the people versus a corrupt, out-of-touch elite. Now, depending on who you ask, you're going to get two very different takes on this style. Supporters will tell you it's a breath of fresh air, that it's honest and cuts through all the political jargon. But critics, they see it as a really divisive and destabilizing approach that chips away at the trust we have in our democratic systems. Okay, so let's bring this back to Australia. The thing is, this kind of politics isn't entirely new here. For years, commentators have pointed to someone like Pauline Hanson, whose style has long echoed these same tactics. That strong anti-establishment message, criticizing the elites, and making a direct appeal to national identity. This was happening long before Trump was even on the presidential scene. So if it's not new, what's changed? What's different now is that it's not just analysts making these connections anymore. Now you have supporters of both figures openly saying, yeah, they're similar. And in many cases, they're actually celebrating it as part of a shared global movement to shake things up. And when you look at the specific issues that supporters are pointing to, a few key themes just keep coming up again and again. Things like a focus on nationalism, a call for much tighter border control, a real skepticism of global organizations, and of course that very familiar criticism of the mainstream media. But how on earth does a political strategy from one side of the world get picked up on the other? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you. It has everything to do with our hyper-connected digital world, which has created this incredibly fast information feedback loop. And you can see how it works. A politician in the US delivers a powerful speech or tries a new tactic. Within hours, literally hours, it's all over social media globally. Supporters here in Australia see it, they share it, and they start to adapt the message to fit our local issues. And just like that, the tactic gets a new life down under. And this is the crucial part to understand. For a growing number of people, this isn't just about passively watching what's happening overseas. They're looking at these figures as active sources of inspiration, as a blueprint for how politics should be done right here in Australia. So all of this leads to a much bigger, more fundamental conversation about what's at stake for Australia. Because this isn't just about politicians anymore. It's a debate about the very future of our political culture and the kind of public square we all want to live in. And you can really see the tension when you lay out the arguments. On one side, proponents say this style is great because it engages voters who feel ignored. It forces us to have tough conversations, and it challenges a system they believe is broken. But on the other side, the big worry is that it just ramps up political polarization, leaves no room for compromise, and wears down our trust in the very institutions that hold our society together. This quote really gets to the heart of the critique. The problem, for many, isn't that people disagree. I mean, disagreement is the lifeblood of a healthy democracy. The concern is about how we're disagreeing. It's about the tone and whether the structure of our debate is becoming so toxic that we can't find common ground on anything. Okay, now we need to be absolutely crystal clear on this next point. This is not about some formal alliance or a coordinated global strategy. There's no evidence of that at all, and making that distinction is so important. To put it simply, This is a phenomenon that's bubbling up from the ground, not being directed from the top down. It's all about supporters, followers, and commentators drawing these parallels themselves. It's not about official party-to-party agreements to merge agendas. We also have to remember a huge point of caution. You can't just copy and paste political tactics between countries. Our political system in Australia is fundamentally different from the one in the US. We have a parliamentary system, and things like compulsory and preferential voting completely change the game. What works there might totally backfire here. At the end of the day, this whole conversation comes back to us, to the voters. This isn't just about what politicians are doing or saying. It's about the kind of political culture we as citizens choose to reward at the ballot box. You know, our political culture isn't something that's set in stone. It's something we all shape every single day through how we vote, the conversations we have, and the standards we demand. We all have a say in this. So, we're left with this really defining question for our time. As we look to the future of Australian politics, what path are we going to choose? Is it going to be one that prioritizes confrontation above all else? Or is it one that still sees value in compromise? That, really, is a question that only our collective choices will answer.